Hello there again. Good to see you. Um, Ian Cathcart, Minister in Flemington Hallside. Um, Thought for the day, if you've been with us since the beginning, you're, you've been here a while. If you've just come along because, I don't know, you heard somebody talk about it, so we've got banners up around various kind of places in the parish, so maybe you've come on there. Whoever you are, however long you've been with us, nice that you're here this morning. Um, so yesterday I was telling you to stay in, watch TV, but just to make sure, unbroken. Well, it's it's on tonight, but I wanted to speak about a film that's coming on TV tomorrow. It's basically film 2020. Some of you won't remember the name Barry Norman. Some of us are still. The film review isn't a film review until you get Barry Norman's opinion. But he passed away, so it's kind of hard to do that now. The thing is, obviously the BBC are doing this because it has a certain poignancy and power. Um, there's a film on Friday night. This is Friday the 19th of June. It's on BBC Two and it's 20 past 11. So I recognise for some of you, that might be a bit too late. So you have to get a tape recorder. If you still have a videotape recorder, then sell it because you'll get a lot of money for it because those machines are prized items now. Anyway, the point is, record it if you can. It's on BBC Two, 20 past 11, and the film is called Selma. Selma's a place, absolutely central to the civil rights movement of the 1960s. But it's not just the fact that it's about Martin Luther King. It is about Martin Luther King, but it's also the fact that it's the guy who's playing him. The actor who plays him is, make allowances. I'm doing my best here. His name is David Oyelowo. He probably, I'm trying to think of the films that you might have seen him in before. He was in the first Jack Reacher film, and he played a baddie, which is not what he normally does. He was in a film then Jack Reacher was 2012. He was in a film called The Butler, which was all about the White House butler who was black. He was part of the kind of entourage, not the main guy. The fact is that was him kind of working his way up. The film I remember at the time watching the film thinking, you're a really good actor. I had just assumed he was American. He's British. He was in a film called The Help. And if any of you have seen The Help, you won't need to be reminded because it's a really memorable film. And he played Preacher Green. And so he was that very slightly built, but very powerful individual. He plays a preacher in a black church in southern states, but it's a small role, but it's crucial and it's really well done. And at the time, it was just lovely to watch. The point is, he played a minister in that film. He plays a minister in Thelma on Friday night. But the point is, on Friday night, he plays Martin Luther King. So as far as black ministers are concerned, you can't really go, I would say probably as far as any minister is concerned, you probably wouldn't be able to pick a better one. The irony is that David Oyelowo is a Christian himself. So yesterday we're looking at Louis Zamperini in a film called Unbroken this evening. Tomorrow night, I'm wanting you to watch another film about a Christian played by an actor who's a Christian. And the reason why I want it is very specific. Obviously, in the last few weeks, the whole kind of movement of Black Lives Matter has come under quite a close scrutiny. It's been on the go for a while. But the reason why I want you to watch the film is quite simple. It was a news piece from America where the person was basically objecting to this organisation, i.e. Black Lives Matter, because he didn't like the name. He just felt all lives matter and said as much. If you watch Thelma on Friday night, if you record it, one of the things that comes across really well is the resilience of the Black community because of Martin Luther King and his commitment to non-violence. He was very, very much vilified within the Black community because there was a whole, again, for those of you who know the history, I apologise for being condescending, but there's this whole kind of Malcolm X type of element which has got the Black Panthers and is much more, well, if they're going to kill us, then let's kill them. And so there's a much bigger element of what you would essentially have as the Civil War has happened, but it doesn't really make any difference for Black people. So maybe we need to have a second Civil War to sort things out properly. And so Malcolm X was the kind of violent response to the way things were for Black people. But Martin Luther King was very, very adamant that it had to be non-violence. But what he was saying was that that perseverance has to be our strategy because that's who we are. Because in the 200 plus years of American history, they were told that they were equal. But the behavior of the education system, the police system, the justice system, the prison system, the culture in general, made it very clear all lives most assuredly do not matter. And to whatever extent Black lives matter, they certainly didn't matter as much as white lives. And so the reason why you watch the film is really, really simple. You must recognize, everybody, I think, should recognize that when people use the phrase Black Lives Matter, it's not because they think Black lives are more important than white lives. I think Black Lives Matter has, as an implicit understanding from the outset, all lives are important, but not all lives are given equal importance. In other words, when you see the poster that says Black Lives Matter, to me, it requires an act of faith, not in Jesus, but in the person holding the actual banner. In other words, there is an assumption all lives matter, but history illustrates the fact that white lives matter more than Black lives. And so within the context of that historical context, we would like to make sure that you're clear, Black lives matter. The difficulty, all of that is too much to get on the poster when you're on the rally walking down the street. And so it's truncated and edited, and it's just Black Lives Matter. And you recognize by the actions of the Black community, they know better than anybody that we are meant to be equal. Watch the film on Friday night, or watch it if you're recording it on Saturday, and recognize Black lives don't matter more. All lives are the same. All lives matter. All deaths matter. But they don't. Because in most countries, some lives are more important than others. Some lives are valued more than others. The death of some people is sad, but not as big a deal if somebody else dies. And so it's important to recognize that it's not playing with words. Black Lives Matter is not stating that Black lives are more important than white lives or any other lives. But the behavior of governments, education systems, health systems, justice systems, policing, over the decades and centuries have illustrated the truth, which is not all lives matter. And that's the context within which the phrase, the slogan gets said, Black Lives Matter. If you feel that's still not enough, just watch the film. Because the film makes it absolutely clear that the power in so much of what Martin Luther King did was because he was resilient and persevered in a situation where his life didn't amount to as much as the next person if they were white. And as a consequence, the phrase is used. One last thing, just recognise that David Oyelowo, if you go online, Google it, and go on YouTube, his walk with God, he claims part of it was God called him to play that part. We all get asked to do things, to be part of the solution as opposed to being part of the problem. Very powerful film. Powerful because not in an individual marriage situation, it does show you the power of forgiveness. This has been quite different from Wednesday with its focus on Louis Zamperini, which in some ways was quite different from its focus on Monday and Tuesday with the focus on divorce. But they do actually come as a package, a group, because ultimately forgiveness is what we receive in Christ and what we're meant to show to our neighbour, to our spouse, to our children, to our parents. And where that's too hard for us to do right now, we need to attempt to keep on trying. Watch the film tomorrow night and you'll see people who keep on trying despite the opposition. Until then, go with God, because I know He goes with you.